Greetings and welcome to episode 212 of the Words About Gamescast, a weekly video game podcast for Words About Games. I'm your host, Amy here, Alexander. I'm joined by the glorious one himself, Mr. Daffy Mooney. He's doing his exercise, in case you're wondering. He's like, I need to work out a bit. No.
Four stone, people, 4 stone.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, ladies and
You're
gentlemen. Thank you.
very welcome. Even though it's just me applauding, I'm sure everybody else is applauding with me, I'm sure.
I've got a little love, and I'm really happy about that.
Because you've worked hard,
Really
you put the work in.
Yeah.
Anyone who's followed you on Twitter has seen you put the work in, and now it's paying off.
You're
looking very handsome.
Where am I at? I've still got 7, 8 to go. Still a long way, but out.
That's a long way, but if you've done 4,
Getting there.
and then all you need to do is another 4, and then another 4 after that. Proving you can do it.
Hell yeah.
And I'm very proud of you.
Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you very much.
I think I'm just going to get the normal intro out of the way, because we've got the normal intro, and then we've got a very special intro, and then we've got the actual podcast. Plus, we end up burning so much post-show discussion material in the beginning of the podcast. And then it's like, we got a post-show where we talk about anything. And I think it was Keith that pointed out, yeah, but Amy, you talk about anything for the first 10 minutes of the podcast anyway. I was like, yeah, you make a good point. I just like asking how people's days have been. Sue me. But this isn't a podcast about how our day's been, more or less. This is the Words About Gamescast, where each week we discuss what's been going on in gaming, the games industry, and gaming culture over the past 7 days before we take a little bit of a look into the future. In this week's episode, we discuss the outpouring of sexual misconduct allegations that have shook the game industry, our thoughts on the Avengers and Cyberpunk 2077 gameplay reveals, and more. Then we'll go over the new game announcements, release dates, and delays that happened over the past week, give you a content drop where we recommend some articles you should read and some videos you should watch, tell you what games are coming out over the next 7 days before we play OpenCritic head-to-head, where we guess the OpenCritic average of one upcoming game. And as always, we'll wrap the show up with a post-show discussion to chat about whatever's on our minds. As always, timestamps are in the description below the video on YouTube, so you can watch this podcast in any particular order. Let me try that again. So you can watch this podcast in any particular order you feel like. You can watch certain sections. You can watch the whole thing backwards. We really don't mind. We are just happy that you're here. But before we dive into the news, we talked about it the other day. Myself and Rudy on a... I was going to say in a group chat. That's not true. I feel like 90% of all my communications with people is in a group chat, but this was actually private between the two of us. With everything that's been going on, you put out a statement on the Glorious Movie Show, which you can find on a podcast service of your choosing, and you should, because it's a great podcast. And we decided, no problem, and we decided that we would read a statement out on the Words About Gamescast, and then you would read a statement out on the Words About Gamescast. So basically, we've both got statements out on the Words About Gamescast. Now, unfortunately, we're not terribly smart people, so we didn't discuss beforehand who was going to go first.
Ladies first.
It just dawned on me. So I was like, oh, who's going to go first? I'll go first. Even though I'm losing my voice, I'm going to take a sip. And then that's my brain juice as well. So it's doubly important. So I wrote a thing. I hope it's okay. It's been a rough month to follow and talk about the video game industry. Hell, it's been rough for years, but we seem to have reached a tipping point on a lot of issues all at once. We haven't always put our best foot forward here at Words About Games. In fact, there have been times where we've said or done some really shitty things. Years ago, we wouldn't have waded into anything other than talking about the video games themselves. And things changed after we sat down and decided that to not speak up about the toxicity that festers inside the industry was disingenuous. So we made a conscious decision to start paying attention and to start talking about things that really mattered. Not just about how great Persona 5 is, or how stupidly broken Fallout 76 is. And still is. Our voices are small, but we decided to start using them and educate ourselves. We still haven't always done or said the right things. No one ever does. In the past few weeks, we've seen a lot of issues brought into the spotlight, from systemic racial injustice to horrific stories of sexual abuse, from pathetic and nonsensical arguments about so-called social justice in games to attacks on the transgender community and workplace abuse, and so much more. It hasn't been an easy time to make a podcast that, when it started, was originally meant to be a goofy, fun conversation about video games. But while it has been difficult to watch everything that's happened in the past few weeks, months, and years, it's important not to look away, to stand in support of what's right, and to call out those toxic elements. Black Lives Matter. We believe the survivors of sexual harassment and sexual abuse. Trans women are women. Trans men are men. Non-binary people are valid. Bigotry is not welcome here, no matter what form it takes. If any of those statements offend you, then you aren't wanted here. This is a video game podcast, but it's also a safe space for people from all walks of life, and we will not tolerate bigotry. There it is.
Very well said.
Thank you.
It's spot on for very much effort. I think what I've seen a lot of brave, amazing people come out and say, and yeah, it's brilliant. I think it's very well said, Amy.
Thank you. I always worry when I write something like personal. Like I can write a video game review any day of the week, but something that actually matters is like, and then I get nervous about it.
Yeah, so. Yeah, that's understandable. I can understand that. It's for me, it's like it's kind of the same for me, just a little bit to part of where none of this really is affecting me.
Yeah, personally,
and like that, but I feel like it's hurting somehow, and I'm just like, should I really be speaking out and everything like that? Because I'm not really, like, say, I'm not getting affected by racism, sexism, abuse, or anything like that. But yeah, it's these people have been amazing and brave. So shout out to all of them.
And speaking out is important for allies to do, as well as important for just like, even if you haven't been affected by it, that's even more. It's kind of even more important for people in your position to speak out and say that this isn't okay. Like, as long as you're not speaking over someone, of course, but sort of lending your voice to it. Like, we did it it happened with recently with some of the stuff that's been going on in the UK around the Gender Recognition Act, where it was a lot of people, a lot of us trying to get a lot of people who weren't us to send emails to their MPs, and it was probably just as important that people like yourself who are cisgendered would send those emails, as opposed to just people like myself who was transgender. Just to use an example from something completely different, but
yeah.
Did you want to read yours?
Want me to do mine? Yeah. Nice. Okay. In the last week or so, #SpeakingOut has seen women, men, and non-binary people bravely come forward and tell their stories of sexual, mental, and physical abuse in the world. The Words About Games is a show for everybody who wants to celebrate the video games they love and have meaningful conversation debates about said games and have fun. If you don't believe that Black Lives Matter, that trans lives matter, that all genders are truly equal in all walks of life, that racism is beyond stupid, and that it's our duty to do better and to one another and make this beautiful planet a better place, then Words About Games isn't for you, and we do not want your view. We fully support the Speaking Out movement and can commend the bravery of those who have come forward. Support each other and speak out.
Very well said. Sorry, I'm not making a face at what you said. I'm just tightening my microphone.
Yeah,
that was bad timing. Very well said.
No, I'm the same. Like, even after I've done something, then I feel better. We get somehow still feel uncomfortable. What do I do now? Smile. No, I don't know. Do I? I feel kind of like to the part of, this is going to sound really wrong, this part, but from Gone Girl, the film, where Ben Affleck's character just he's trying to find his wife and everything like that, but then he just smiles.
He smiles.
I was thinking, don't do that and everything like that, and he's just like. And I'm just like, no, and everything, but yeah.
Yeah, I think
Terrible analogy, but
I get you. I get you.
I
I
know.
feel the same way. I think like just putting out these statements is it like with everything that's been going on for years, like I've mentioned in what I wrote, but more specifically in the last sort of few weeks, where so many things have come to my head. I think it was just important to sort of say something. Um, I think it was last week. Was it last week when speaking out it sort of started and we sort of touched on it, but
Yeah, yeah.
it wasn't as huge a thing as
It does
it
start
is now.
basically. Yeah.
And when we did Black Lives Matter, and I said like I couldn't find the words to actually say anything in particular. Whereas I think that like I should have forced myself to have something, and I think now is a good time to have something written down that I could read. I know. I'm glad you thought it was okay.
Oh, mine.
But like the important point is like all of the things we said. Black Lives Matter. We believe the survivors of sexual harassment and abuse. All genders are valid and equal, and anyone is welcome here, as long as you're respectful and kind, and not a bigot.
Basically, yeah. So don't be a jerk. Don't be a jerk.
Yeah, it's literally one of the rules on my Twitch channel. Be
Yeah,
nice.
it actually is. Yeah. Don't be a jerk.
Yeah, don't be a jerk. That's
We
what
can
I
have
kept quite often.
disagreements.
Oh,
We
100%.
can not disagree on games, films, music, books, the whole shebang. But be respectful when you do it.
Yeah,
Can't do that.
and realize that there
You
are certain
lose the
things.
argument.
Yeah, and realize that there just are certain things that are not up for debate. Um,
Mm.
and I think it shows that I've grown as a person that I didn't make a joke about Sea of Thieves right there. So let's move on. Should we just do our news stories? So this one's an interesting one. It's not an interesting way. So we're going to tackle it a little bit differently than we normally would a story like this, where we're going to be talking about the speaking out movement and everything that's happened in the past week and a little bit. I'm going to read part of a Jason Schreier article. There's a much bigger article over at Bloomberg. If you go and check his Twitter, you'll be able to find it quite easily. And like, I don't want to dive into all the specifics because so much has come out, so much has happened that's a podcast. That is just the full podcast, just right there and then. And it's not that I don't think that this is important, but I'm leaving links in the content drop below in the video in the description, so you can read the individual accounts of all of the different people who have been called out or spoken about. But we're gonna have a more broad discussion here, which I'm gonna use this as the jumping off point for. So news story number one is video game industry rocked by outpouring of sexual misconduct allegations. This is from Jason Schreier over at Bloomberg, which does not feel right to say. Jason Schreier, Bloomberg. I don't know if I'm ever going to get used to that. But he wrote,
As long as he's happier, that's
as
all
long
that
as he's
matters.
fine, yeah. He wrote, dozens of women took to social media over the past few days to outline explosive allegations against prominent men in the world of video gaming and streaming, setting the stage for what could be the beginning of a Me Too reckoning. Sorry, hashtag Me Too reckoning for the $150 billion video game industry. 4 women levelled accusations of sexual misconduct against Chris Avalon, a critically acclaimed video game writer, leading one developer to end its cooperation with him and prompting him to part ways with another game in the works. A different woman accused Omi Dariani, the chief executive officer of Online Performers Group, a talent agency that works with many video streamers, of making an unwelcome sexual overture. Dariani resigned from his position on Sunday. The gaming industry has for years been criticised as unwelcoming, if not hostile, to women, but has not yet faced the hashtag MeToo movement on the same scale as Hollywood and other industries. This week's flurry of postings was unique in terms of its volume and public nature, and it sent ripples across the industry. Accusations began appearing on Twitter late Friday night, which is a week ago on Friday, not last Friday, and each new post emboldened other women to publicly share their stories. Many of the postings about the men accused of misconduct were subsequently compiled on a thread in a thread on Medium, which again is linked in the content drop below, as well as a Twitter thread by Megna Giant. You should check both of those out for sure. Some of the people identified in postings have denied wrongdoing, while others have apologised for their behaviour. Many were not identified by their legal names, but by the names they are known by on social media. So this has been our life for a week, I feel like. On social media, it's been impossible to escape from. Because it's just been everyone. Like, I feel like I follow a lot of prominent people in the games industry on Twitter. I've just sort of collected them over the years, right? Like, of just doing stuff like this and just being like, this person, and legitimately, so many of them have just put out their story, whatever it is, on Twitter. Yeah. To the point that it's difficult to keep track of, which is why I'm actually quite thankful for people doing that work and making the Medium post and the Twitter thread to help keep track of it. And also, like, inescapable for me personally, every time I log on to Twitter. And as I said at the top of this video, in the letter that I wrote, we stand with survivors of sexual abuse, sexual assault, sexual harassment. We support them in any way that we can. And it's been another tough week to be doing this.
Yeah.
In a tough year. In a tough decade.
Yeah, it is. It's been like the article says, like Hollywood has already gone through this, and looking back on it, I never reported on it on my podcast. I hold my hand up there. I did not because I didn't think at the time. I was just thinking it wasn't moving news to what I wanted to talk about, basically, and it's a thing that I'll always have to remember that I did that. So thinking that I've learned from that. I shouldn't have done that. I should have spoken about it. And I'm moving on with it. But that's why these days I am talking about these things. That's why the last couple of weeks, like we've already talked about, we've done statements and everything like that. One what we talked about, what we're talking about now, and like with the Black Lives Matter movement, what happened a couple of weeks ago. I'm not staying quiet compared to what I did last time, which I shouldn't have done that. These people deserve to be spoken and heard and listened, and that's one of the things I think I'm grateful a little bit to what's happened with the Black Lives Matter movement. The part of that, listen. The main thing is to listen right now, and it's to listen to these brave people who are coming out to talk about an industry that is an incredible industry that I'm trying to get into. But it is even when I'm studying in college, I can see it is severely flawed and corrupt in many, many, many ways, and it's disgusting to think that. Like in my class, and this has nothing to do with my college or anything like that. I love my college. This is just this is how uninviting games industry is. That I only have one girl in my class. I have no people of color in my class. We're all white people in my class, and I only have one girl in my class. And I feel it's really like I say, this is not my college. My college has done nothing wrong. They only can do with what they get applicants to come through and everything. But it's really discouraging to see things like this. That the industry has such a bad reputation that people, women, people of color, of minorities, something like that, can't come out and try and work in a great industry. Which it is. This is the thing, Liz. It is an amazing industry. We get some amazing games like you, me, Amy. We've just reviewed. Done a spoiler cast for The Last of Us. We both love it and everything. But even Naughty Dog have had things of crunch culture and everything, where it's like people have left because of that and everything, and the mental abuse on it, and it's like it's really, really worrying, and it's really disheartening when you hear these brave people come out talking about these terrible, terrible stories, which need to be heard. And hopefully, and Hollywood is still reeling from it and still adapting, and you do see signs that they are changing. and I hope this is going to be the same thing for the
Sure,
game
yeah.
industry. It's going to be a huge, huge punt up the backside, so hard that they fly into the stratosphere. Basically, that this is going to change things. That we're going to start seeing more representations in games and people who develop in the games and everything. I hope this is going to do this for a lot of people who deserve it. Like I said, this is an amazing industry. It deserves all the love it gets, but it also deserves all the hate it gets sometimes. And this is one that we have to listen to these people and like get rid of it. Games industry, get rid of it. You may be the biggest industry basically in the world, most profitable. So that's the craziest thing to think about. If you think about it, it's more profitable than Hollywood. That's how crazy this is. The games industry is more profitable than Hollywood, and yet they are still behind the times of diverse. Allow other people to speak, allow and everything, and don't be a dick. Don't be a dick at all. Just
It is. It is the biggest industry in the world. That happened
yeah.
a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
It's also young. It's also younger than other entertainment industries. Like the video game industry is a lot younger
Hollywood's over 100 years old. Yeah.
than the film industry, book industry, music industry, such and such and so forth. That's not an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
The games industry is wild for me personally. It it's more accepting, I feel, than a lot of other entertainment industries. But at the same time, it's also more toxic. It's like it's more polarized than say the film industry, and this is from me sort of outside looking in on all of these industries. Like I don't really engage with the film industry very much. In terms of I listen to your podcast and I watch films every now and again, but that's about it. Um, and like there's a lot of diverse people in the games industry, um, which is always heartening to see for someone like myself. And I have found a lot of acceptance with a lot of people in parts of the game industry, but at the same time, this is this isn't like contained to a couple of people. This isn't just contained to streamers. This isn't just contained to content creators. This isn't just contained to AAA games studios or indie game studios. This is literally everywhere. We've seen it we've seen it touch on everything. From huge studios like Ubisoft and Insomniac Games to small indies to freelancers like Chris Avalon to streamers and YouTube content creators to everything, like in every aspect of of the industry has basically been rocked by this one way or another. And
Yeah.
I do hope this has happened before, on much smaller scales. I remember there was last year. I think there was like 4 or 5, like hashtag Me Too esque sort of stories that came out from a few different people. Whereas this is dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, by now. And I hope this spurs on fundamental change in the industry,
Yeah.
like for everything, like it to make the industry more welcoming to people who aren't cis straight white men, to make it more accepting of different viewpoints and different types of people, to get different people's voices heard, but also to allow people to even call out bad behavior, to stop it before it gets to the point where someone has a heartbreaking, horrific story to tell about someone else. Um, like like that would be my thing. Like all of those things are what I hope, but I think like it also the important one for me, or the main one for me, is that like it's like what we talked about last. I think it was last week where we were talking about. It certainly feels like a lot more people are listening now. In the wake of everything that's been going on over the last few weeks and months, um, and like, and that is heartening to see. Like, because that will hopefully lead to greater change, and hopefully that's what happens here. In that, like, if you see someone acting inappropriately at an industry party, or you see someone acting inappropriately in the workplace, or you see someone acting inappropriately, like using their fan base inappropriately, any of the things that we've heard about over the past week and a half, and hopefully that it means more people will call it out and say, no, this is wrong, stop doing it. And I know that's part of the problem with, like, there have been tons of stories about this where it's like people have tried and failed to call it out and whatnot, and hopefully that's a big part that changes, so we can just make the industry a bit less hostile.
Yeah.
For everyone, like, a bit more inviting, a bit less shit, really. I'm just gonna say it as bluntly as possible. I just want the industry to not be shit.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
One day.
The spot on. Yeah.
One day.
It's gonna be a process. It's gonna be a slow process. Sadly, things can't get changed like that as quick as a fan or snap. But it's gonna happen. Things will change. I truly believe that. Other things change. We will get more people coming out, more and more, and they will be called out, and they'll hopefully will be removed from their situations of their jobs of power, and better people will be put in. That's the only thing we can hope for, and everything. Just be nice, ladies and gentlemen. Come on, we can do
We just need
this.
to treat each other.
We all work together.
We just need, like, and I know this is oversimplifying it, right? And this isn't obviously where I stand, but, like, so many problems could be solved so easily if everybody just treated each other with respect and dignity and kindness. And that's an oversimplification, and I know it's an oversimplification, but hopefully one day that's where we're at, where it is just a case of everybody just treats each other well. One day. But for now, I'm ready to just burn people to the ground, metaphorically speaking.
That's fair.
I don't have any matches or gasoline, so I can't do it physically.
Mm-hmm.
So for now, it's just metaphorically.
It's gonna be gifts.
It's gonna be gifts. It's gonna be gifts. Let's move on.
Me.
Are you? Sorry, before I move on, are you good? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
I want to make sure you said everything that you can say.
Nice.
Again, just before I do move on, the links are in the content drop below this video in the description, so you can go and check out all of the different stories from all of the incredibly brave people who have spoken out over the past week and a half. And those will continually be updated. So, bookmark them. But for now, let's move on. I'm switching the order of these two around, really, because I want to talk about Avengers first.
Yeah.
I need a buffer between what we've just talked about and Cyberpunk, because if you saw my Twitter feed at about 1 o'clock in the morning, Avengers needs to be a buffer between these two things. It was what do they call it? A war. They call it a war table.
War table.
Yeah. It was a 25-ish minute video, which was like a deep dive onto the upcoming Avengers, kind of a single player, kind of a live service game. It's a bit Destiny, but it's also a bit story driven, and things that I've wanted explained, they certainly talked about in the video. They showed us a new story trailer. They showed us gameplay from something that wasn't the first level of the game. And they also talked about how multiplayer works. Did you watch this or read about it?
I didn't watch it all, but I watched it after.
Yeah, I didn't watch either of these. The two things that we're talking about, I literally watched them both last night, back to back. What do you think? Top level view.
This was boring as hell. It was crap. Visually, it looks a little bit better. I don't deny that. Gameplay looks clunky as hell. For me.
Don't know what it is about Avengers. For starters, I don't think Thor was the best showcase for an extended gameplay look. Because again, Moody, just to remind you, I'm sure you remember, but just to remind anyone who's watched it, I've played half an hour of this game.
Yeah, you have.
At EGX last year, and when I played it and came back and talked about it on an impressions video, like I said, the gameplay is fun. Like the only character I didn't really enjoy playing as was Iron Man, but weirdly enough, but Thor's, it's not like I watched the gameplay and I remembered playing the A-Day mission, which is the one they showcased last year or earlier this year, one of the two. And yeah, I don't know what it is about this game where it doesn't look great to play. But I have the memory of playing it, and I remember that it was actually pretty good. Like, it wasn't groundbreaking, it wasn't amazing. But I had fun with it for half an hour. And then I watched the thing last night, the Avengers War Table, and I was just like, this looks really bad. And it got to the point where I was questioning my memories of playing the game and whether I thought was it actually fun? Like, or was it just that I'd been stood in a queue for an hour waiting to play the game, and I was just happy to sit down and finally play a video game. And it was actually quite a fun game to play. But then I watched the Thor gameplay, and I was like, this looks terrible. And then they showed a bit more gameplay and a bit more gameplay, and I was like, this still looks terrible. Like,
yeah.
I don't get it.
I'm not excited for this game whatsoever. I kind of want to remove it from my fantasy thing.
Okay, fuck all.
I'll say what a friend of ours says when he watched it. You need to have the content, the end game content, and if you don't have this is you're gonna have dieharders who are excited for this to stick around. But I think a lot of people will fall off this really fast if you don't have good end game content. This doesn't look good. It doesn't. Its gameplay looked clunky as hell. I just wasn't excited for it, and I was just like, I should be excited for an Avengers game. Like, I was excited when I saw a trailer for Miles Morales. What didn't show really any gameplay. This showed gameplay. And you're like, well, that's what I think it is. We've seen two superhero characters, one from the DC and one from Marvel. We have great games that the combat is really, really good. And now you have this, which it does literally just seem like it's like, I feel like I can't remember what the guy's name, but he used to work on Fable, where it's just like you just press and B, see B, and that's what I literally feel like this is what this game's gonna be. It's just B, or X, and everything like that, and you're just gonna be like, oh, this is really bad. It's what it literally screams out to me right now. I'm so. I've heard things. Oh, well, no, I've heard things. I've read things online that people who say know people who are working on the game say they're struggling to get this to be enjoyable. And I was like, if you can't enjoy this, that's a problem. Like, if the QAs are struggling like hell to enjoy this, even though they're getting the bugs out for you, that is a problem. Like, crazy problem.
I wonder if part of the issue of enjoyability is down to the fact that there are obviously 6 main characters, right?
Yeah.
In the game, I've played 5 of them, and that's 6 very different play styles. Like, even from what I was playing, like you had Black Widow, who was quite close to sort of an Arkham Spider-Man-esque sort of gameplay.
Yeah, close combat person,
yeah, close combat. And I know there's a big focus on customization and being able to choose between like ranged and heavy and like change the playstyles of the characters. But that was the experience that I had. You've got the Hulk, who's like the big smashy brute tank guy. Iron Man, who was flying around shooting lasers and stuff. Thor, which you saw in the gameplay, is a little bit like playing Kratos in God of War, but not as satisfying. And who's the character? Captain America. He was also fun because he could throw his mighty shield and it would bounce off people. And like, but they all fight. And then obviously Kamala Khan is going to be a playable character, and we saw some of her sort of abilities. And it is that case of those are six very distinctive gameplay styles. So you're committing to making this game, but what you're actually doing is you're making six different games for six different people. And I wonder if that's part of the issue of them trying to find that enjoyability, where it's like instead of focusing on one thing and making it and doing it really well, like if this was say a Captain America game and they just focus on Captain America and they just focus on making Captain America's gameplay feel great, they're focusing on Cap, Hulk, Thor, Kamala Khan, Natasha, Iron Man, and it's like all of those things have to feel great, and it's like they don't have the focus on, they don't have enough focus on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I personally don't think this is what people wanted from an Avengers game. I think they wanted just a full-on story game like the Batman games or like Spider-Man and everything. I think games as a service has a really mixed culture when it comes to it. It's like people who like games as a service, they're really into them. But then there's like, for me, I'm not the biggest game service person out there. I'm just like, this is not tantalizing whatsoever. Yes, you've got the biggest characters out there in medium right now, just because, but that's all thanks to Disney and Marvel, for God's sakes, ladies and gentlemen. If that wasn't around, there would be little to no hype to this game for me personally, compared to what because of what the movies have done.
Yeah, I mean,
what are we going to say?
They are like, just on your point about movies, they are definitely, they're more. What's the best word? What's the word I'm looking for here? They're more beholden to the comics than the movies. That's clear from the designs, from everything. They hammered home the fact that they were being really respectful of the comics by talking about where they got their inspirations from different moves and different costumes, and that was really cool. But it's very little to do with the movies. My question is,
sorry, if you land the button, sorry. I'm not trying to say they have to be part of the movies or anything like that. I was like one of the people when they came out when they had different looks. I was saying,
it's fine.
You wanted to be Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Hemsworth and Chris Evans because this will be the most expensive bloody game ever, more expensive than bloody Destiny, you idiots. They'll never make a penny for at least 2 to 3 years. Yeah. But I digress. Sorry, go continue.
My question about where you mentioned it's a live service game a couple of times, like, it's obviously going to be an ongoing game, but like, this isn't like any live service game I've ever seen before. Like, there's going to be a campaign where you're going to play different missions as the different characters and play an overarching story. And to be fair, the story looks cool. Like, from all of the trailers that I've seen, from going all the way back to the reveal of A-Day, which is clearly the prologue to the story, to seeing, like, Kamala Khan being introduced, to seeing the Avengers being reassembled, and MODOK and AIM, it seems like a really cool comic book story. But then when they start talking about the multiplayer aspect of it, like, I'm sure at one point we were supposed to be able to create our own heroes to use in multiplayer. That doesn't seem to be the case anymore. Or they're not talking about it right now, but it's also, 2-3 months away from launch? Like, if they're not going to talk about it now, when are they going to talk about it? And it just, I don't know. That part to me, just like, I don't know why would I want that part of the game? Like, give me more stories. Cool, yeah, absolutely. But like, I don't run strike. Like, I don't like in Destiny 2, because I am a live service game player, and at the moment Destiny 2 is the game I'm into. Like, I don't run strikes for the stories. Like, I run strikes because I'm having fun playing the game, and 2 because I want loot. Like, and of making Avengers like a loot-driven live service type game seems like a weird flex to me. Like, if it was just a Marvel Universe MMO type live service game, fair enough. But it's an Avengers game. There are only 6 Avengers, like, in this game. It just seems weird to me. It seems super weird.
I don't know, like, it's... This has been mixed for a lot of people since they revealed it last year, yeah? and they haven't. I
last
don't
year.
think they. Yeah, I think it was last year. This year's been so long. Like I feel like we've been in 2020 for 12 months. So, but yeah. Let us know what you think, ladies and gentlemen. Like, say, Avengers War Table impressions. What do you guys do you think? Do you think it was a really good showing? Do you think? Do you think me and Amy are crazy? A lot of people have told. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little crazy.
I mean, we are,
So
but
yeah,
I don't know. Like I say, the thing I'm clinging on to is the fact that I've played it and I had fun.
yeah.
Whether that translates to like a full game, like I have a feeling I'm gonna play the shit out of this when it comes out. I'm gonna really enjoy the single player campaign. I'm gonna play a bit of the multiplayer, probably with you because we'll probably both have it. And then I'm just gonna bounce and be like, "Cool, Moody, you good?" And you're gonna go, "Yeah, I'm good." And I go, "Cool. I want to play Destiny. Hit me up if you want to play Apex." Like, I don't see this taking me away from the games that I do play regularly.
Yeah.
Not based on
I
everything
can
that's
see
shown.
that. But I believe they're doing what another couple of more shows before.
Yeah, they said episode 1,
Yeah.
the War Table episode 1 in the video, which was news to me, but hey, I'll take it. But at the moment, I'm more interested in Outriders, the game we covered a few weeks ago, than I am in Avengers, and that's mind blowing to me for starters because this is a freaking Avengers. I am a comic book nerd, Moody.
Yeah, that's the thing about it. That's what I think is so confusing with me right now. This is the biggest franchise out there right now. Comic sales are high, back up high again for it. They've made these characters. Disney have made these characters some of the most beloved characters out there for the general going audience these days. And the hype is mixed for an Avengers game. That's the thing that's baffling to me because I'm just like, you have it. You have the characters. I don't care about the look. I love that you're sticking more to the comics and you're going for the more outlandish, crazy ideas from the comic books. I love that. I'm like, yes, because those outlandish stories wouldn't really work on the movie screen. So that for games, it's brilliant. It's perfect.
Yeah.
And yet, it's just not. I'm not excited for it, and that's the. Like I said, you and me will be trying it. We'll be going for the multiplayer. We'll be giving it a try. But I'm like we just tried to start doing Destiny together, and I've bounced already from Destiny. That's the thing about. That's what I'm more worried about. That I'm going to rent the game, and I'm going to be like,
nah, my thanks.
yeah. That's what I feel like. I'm going to play it. Maybe a day or two with you. I'm going to like, yeah, I'm done.
Yeah, it's like we'll get through the campaign really fast, and then it'll be like, Moody, let's go, raw, and then we're both gonna go, and then it'll be like,
yeah,
well, that's that.
Basically, and that's the worrying thing about it.
All right. Well, should we move on to a game that, Moody? I've got to talk about this again. Let's move on. So Avengers wasn't the only thing. There was also a Cyberpunk 2077 Night City Wire Episode 1. And again, I watched this last night. It was about 25 minutes. We saw another trailer. We saw some more gameplay with people talking about it. Saw Holly Bennett. That was cool. And
love her. I think she's brilliant.
She is.
I think she's so well done. She does a great job on what she's been on. She was on PlayStation Access, yeah.
I think she was. She
was brilliant on that, and she looks like she's having an amazing time working for CD Projekt Red.
I follow her on Twitter. That's where I know her from, and I met her at EGX once. But this came with previews, and it's actually we'll talk about the Night City Wire stuff. We'll talk about Cyberpunk, but it's the previews stuff that was in the previews and stuff that's been historically. I've talked about on podcasts past about Cyberpunk. That's going to feel a part of what I'm going to say about this game. But do you want to talk about Cyberpunk first? And what we saw?
I love the lady who presented this. I think she's amazing. Like I've just said, this was boring. Very boring. I thought the trailer was just like, huh? And I'm like, this is like the second most anticipated game of the year for me. And I'm like, huh. And I don't know if it's because it's got delayed. And I'm all happy that it got delayed.
Yeah.
If the game's not ready, it's not ready, and everything like that. But
I think it's an effect that multiple long delays can have. It's not the game's
yeah,
fault or the developer's fault. I've talked about this before on podcasts when certain games have been delayed long
I'll
enough.
disagree when it comes to developers' fault
Yeah,
personally.
you
But
might
go
be
on.
right there. But it's like sometimes when a game gets delayed. Sorry, let me try that again. Sometimes when a game gets delayed so far, like say you're expecting to play it in March and it's now not coming out until November, but you were on the hype train, so you were watching all the stuff where they were building up to launch in March, and then it didn't come out, and then they start building it up again for September, and then it didn't come out. So now they're building up again, and at a certain point, I feel like you just get tired of the continual sort of ramp up to nothing. Which again, it's not like I'm not mad like grr, the game's been delayed again, but at the same time, it gets to a point where you're like, can I just have the game? Like at this point, I've like you've ramped me up a couple of times, and now I just want to get. There's nothing more you can show or tell me about this game.
Yeah, that's basically true. Like you're saying, I'll always go back to Fallout 4. That was the perfect launch, perfect reveal, perfect everything. Showed you the game, announced it was coming. E3 show you the game, gameplay, the whole shebang. Boom, out on the fall. Perfect. Why it still baffles me to this day why developers, AAA developers, I can understand console developers. I can understand console developers because they want to show you, say, this is why you're buying our Xbox or how you're buying our PlayStation. I can understand those guys. I can.
Yeah.
But when it comes to like AAA developers who are going to be on all platforms, I'm like, don't do it. Just announce it when you know you're going to have it out within 12 months. And everything like that. And that's the thing about it. And this is like, this one was announced, 4 years ago now?
Well, that's where it gets
Well, even before that.
interesting.
It wasn't announced before Witcher 3 came out?
It was announced a very long time ago.
Yeah.
And then it was re-announced 2 years ago, I want to say.
Yeah.
But it was like an open secret. Everybody knew it was what they were working on. We were just waiting for it to
be announced again. And I'm just like,
again. It was announced initially in May 2012. The teaser trailer, the one of the lady in the street with the camera in the slow motion, was released in January 2013.
7 years ago.
And then
so this game
re-revealed at E3 2018.
So this game's teaser came out on the last generation, PlayStation 3. It was revealed when the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 were in their final year.
Like
before
they were revealed a couple of months later. It was probably being worked on for this generation's consoles, but it was revealed before those consoles came out.
Bloody hell!
But again, like you got to think that The Witcher 3 was delayed by like over like 2 years or something. I think it was.
Well, that's what I'm saying. What's the point of announcing this game when you haven't even finished your big finish to Grendel or Garrett's story?
Geralt.
Like, come, Geralt, Garrett, Geralt. Henry Cavill, man of my dreams, along with everyone else, but that's neither here or there. It's this. Like I said, I personally don't think this was a great showing. Personally, and also think I'm worried about this game, not because of the money it's going to make or the critics are going to love it and anything like that. I'm worried for myself to be enjoying this game. The last true big game that came out that was apparently this size was Red Dead Redemption 2. I did not like that game one bit. I like big, huge games are the biggest scare for me these days. I'm just like, do we really need those size games anymore? It's something I want to bring up at the end of the show and everything like that.
All right, we'll post show that.
Yeah, but
I got stuff in the chamber for that.
Yeah. I've been writing things down for the chamber. But no, yeah. Sure, I don't think it was the best showing personally, but it's Cyberpunk. It's out. I love CD Projekt Red. Witcher 3 for me is one of the best games this year. That's the thing how contradictory I am to myself. I'm like, but you love Witcher 3 and that was a huge game, and now you're complaining about huge games, and I'm just like, yeah, but that was a few years ago now. I'm a different person than I was a few years ago now. People leave me alone.
gigantic open worlds I've played at this point. Like, the thing about The
Yeah.
Witcher 3 is, if anyone tries to make that argument at Immunity, you just fucking remind them that The Witcher 3 was groundbreaking for many different reasons as an open world game. Like, it brought,
Hmm.
like, side quests had cutscenes and voice acting like they were main quests and story
Yeah.
arcs. Like, there was stuff everywhere, meaningful content. This wasn't a Ubisoft open world where there was just like these little fucking things you got and you went into a cave and it was like, well, there's a cave here, we better put something in it. And it's a little fucking doll that you pick up and it doesn't do anything. Like, there was none of that shit. Like, that's why The Witcher 3 was so great. But because The Witcher 3 happened, other open worlds have started to do that. So now The Witcher, like, if The Witcher 3 was released tomorrow and we'd never played it, it wouldn't be like it'd still be a great game, but it wouldn't
Yeah.
be as groundbreaking in
True.
the things that it did. And that's the difference. Cyberpunk 2077 needs to step it up. Like, every game that has since risen to The Witcher 3's level means that something needs to step up above The Witcher 3's level.
Yeah.
At this
And I think they can do that. They've got an amazing team, but I don't know.
Red Dead Redemption 2 had some fantastic things to it, but my god, it was not a good game to play. Like, to actually play and experience. When you're trying to fucking search 10 bodies in a row, and you can turn them over and check all their pockets and do this, do that. And fucking, you set your horse into auto ride mode and it runs straight into a tree and kills you, and it's just like.
Yeah. I'm putting an extra note against one of the things that I've wrote on to talk about at the end of the show.
But
This I really want to talk about.
Okay.
Important.
But the the presentation was fine. Like, maybe when E3 got cancelled for the second time, when the online component got cancelled, and everybody ran off to do their own things, and 600 different shows got added to the to the docket.
Yeah.
It's like, I saw this coming. Like, you want to do one show for 25 minutes about one game. Okay, that's interesting. Like, the biggest deep dives into games at an E3 press conference are like 10 minutes long. At most, maybe 15, depending on the game. Like, Bethesda have one game that they do like 20 to 30 minutes on, but that game's usually like fucking Fallout. Like, huge games. Like most games, and the way, because of the way, like, developers and publishers are really secretive about, and they want to hold as many cards to their chest as they can about the games that they're making. It makes long dives into these games quite dull. It just does. And I think a lot of people are having a very harsh awakening as to the realities of not having an E3. Like, people who are excited about all of these different things happening, and E3 not being, it's like, you're suddenly realizing that, like, E3 is useful because it condenses everything into 1 week. And that's very helpful. Because otherwise you have things like this, and 600 different showcases you've got to try and keep up with, and you can't keep up with them because there's so many, and they've all got loads of different games in it, and it's like, I was prepared for that. Because, I've been doing this for a long time. I saw which way was blown.
So was everybody else, and yet still everybody seems like, we get free back! We need it!
I think a lot of people said they were prepared for it, and maybe thought they were prepared for it.
Yeah, that's true.
But these are the people who think E3 ends on Tuesday when Nintendo's Direct finishes, and don't realize that E3 hasn't actually started yet. Like,
that's true. Like,
this is the meat of E3. Like, for the people who are complaining about how about the IGN Summer of Gaming days, and I admit they haven't been the best this year. I don't think the caliber of the games they've brought in has been particularly engrossing, but that's exactly what E3 was like.
That's true, yeah.
Like, and I love that shit. Like, but it goes hand in hand with also other big presentations where we get the big announcements and the big reveals, and Keanu Reeves telling me I'm breathtaking. Like, it.
That's the thing about it. You get all of that first, mostly, because some of the
More or
conferences
less.
aren't the
More or
greatest.
less.
And then you go into the thing that you really love, and that's the main days of E3.
Yeah, but I'm like
And right
just
now, for the most part, everyone's had the thing that you love, and they don't really love.
and nobody's done any shit. PlayStation have done one.
Yeah,
Xbox
yeah.
whiffed theirs. EA whiffed theirs. Like, and we're still waiting on a bunch of them. And a ton of people have just gone, screw you, I'm going to do it myself. And then gone, oh, this is kind of boring. And you know what I mean? It's just, it makes me laugh, Moody. It makes me
It
laugh.
makes me laugh as well, I won't lie. But you've got
Um,
some to talk about here, so I'll let you
well,
go.
it's not really deep. It's not even you. It's just like I
It's
tweeted about it.
important to you, Amy,
I tweeted about
and
it
this
this
is what
morning.
you need to talk about.
Like it's just I see Cyberpunk, and I've said this to you in January when we were doing our top 10 most anticipated games of the year, and I said
Yeah.
not, and I basically said not Cyberpunk. Um, and you know, you were surprised because it was one of the biggest games of the year, so I explained why not Cyberpunk.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I've said it before, and I'll say it again. Like it's everything that surrounds this game, for it has done since 2018. Like the game, it's going to be a great RPG. I can see it in the gameplay, right? Like in terms of a city to explore, in terms of the production values, even the gameplay, and like just the general depth of the world. Like it's going to be a great RPG, but there are so many things about this game, and not even necessarily about the game, just about the CD Projekt Red in general. Where I'm just like, this is one of the games. You're saying it's your second most anticipated game of the year. Obviously, your first one was Last of Us, so it is actually your most anticipated game for the rest of the year. Whereas for me, this is one of my least. This is the game I'm looking forward to playing the least, and it's because, like, when you talk about the Cyberpunk stuff, and like I read some of the previews. This is where these tweets came from, where it's like they it was last year I think they caused the big thing about transphobia as a company, and the way they kind of rectified that was to say, hey, we've removed the gender options in our Cyberpunk game. Which, on the one hand, it's like good because it's a fucking Cyberpunk game. Have you guys never played Cyberpunk before? Or like read Cyberpunk before? But okay, cool, you've done that. And then to find out that no, they haven't removed them. But instead of letting you toggle male, female, it's just it's tied to your voice. So like you pick a feminine voice and the game will label you as female, and you pick a masculine voice and the game will label you as male. And it's like, cool. So I have a very deep voice, Mooney. I do. There are plenty of cisgender women who have very deep voices. Would you consider them all men? No, of course you fucking wouldn't. But apparently Cyberpunk would. And it's just
Yeah.
like there was the weird racial stereotypes from last year with the voodoo boys who in the tabletop game are all white, average white dudes who sell drugs. And then in Cyberpunk 2077 in the trailer they're all Haitian. And they're all very stereotypical. And the white dude protagonist murdered them and it's just like, yeah, I'm sure there's context to it. One of the writers went off on one about context to it and stuff, but it's like, you haven't shown me the context. And given everything that you are doing and saying as a company in lead up to this game, I don't have the benefit. I'm not giving you the benefit of the doubt because I don't see a reason to. And these things are small
Yeah.
in terms of, but it makes me wonder what's in the rest of the game. Like, how much worse is the 100-hour Cyberpunk experience going to be? And that's why I'm not looking forward to this game. I'm sure it's going to be a great RPG.
Yeah.
But I just feel like I'm not really ready for the inevitable amount of bullshit that I'm going to find in it. And that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at with the game. My patience is small these days, Moody. It's very small.
You shouldn't take bullshit for anything.
But
at all. You should, like I say, you've got your own morals and everything like that, and this pisses you off, and it's deserving. They deserve you have your anger at them.
like if I'm seeing if we're seeing little glimpses of racist stereotypes, and transphobia now. Like, and this is the stuff they're showing us on purpose to sell the game. What
Yeah.
the fuck's going to be in the game?
Yeah. I can understand that, yeah.
And also, it's just a really shit Cyberpunk. Like, it's the most, like I said it on Twitter, it looks like the most conservative take on Cyberpunk ever. Like, does CD Projekt Red not realize that Cyberpunk as a genre isn't just, let's set it in the future and put neon lights on everything? Like, and maybe some people have got robot arms. Like, I don't know.
I can watch a film called Alita who has robot arms.
Yeah. Like, Blade Runner, Cyberpunk. Cyberpunk has something to say. That's what Cyberpunk is.
Yeah.
Like, it has something to say, and that something to say is usually fuck the world and fuck the systems, fuck the corporations. Like, it's an inherently political genre. And Cyberpunk 2077 just looks like a game with neon lights on it. Like,
I can understand that.
it really does. I'm still going to play it. I'm still going to see what it's all about. It's the biggest game release of the year that we've still got to come. But, like, I'm not hopeful that it's not going to be a bunch of bullshit that just happens to be tied to a really great RPG, mechanically speaking.
Yeah. That's completely understandable. Yeah.
I got that off my chest.
Yeah. Take all the time for me. I'll let you ramble away, will you hear me?
I mean, it always goes down really well. It always goes down really well when I talk shit about one of the most anticipated games of 2020. But let's move on. We've got 2 news stories to go through. These shouldn't be too much to go through. Yes, I did delete one. First one is Microsoft is shutting down Mixer and partnering with Facebook Gaming. God. This is from Tom Warren over at The Verge. He writes, Microsoft is closing its Mixer service on July 22nd and plans to move existing partners over to Facebook Gaming. Good fucking luck with that. The surprise announcement means Mixer partners and streamers will be transitioned to Facebook Gaming starting today, whenever this article was written, and Microsoft will no longer operate Mixer as a service in a month's time. Microsoft has struggled to reach the scale needed for Mixer to compete with Twitch, YouTube, and even Facebook Gaming, which led to the decision. Quote, we started pretty far behind in terms of where Mixer's monthly active viewers were compared to some of the big players out there, says Phil Spencer, Microsoft's head of gaming, in an interview with The Verge. I think the Mixer community is... I hadn't read this before I put it in. I think the Mixer community is really going to benefit from the broad audience that Facebook has through their properties and the abilities to reach gamers in a very seamless way through the social platform Facebook has, end quote. Has Phil Spencer ever used Facebook? Serious question. Facebook's a fucking like, you think Twitter's bad? Like, Facebook is horrible. Why would you say that? I think the Mixer community is really going to benefit from this. Like, no, they're not. Most of them aren't even going to go to Facebook. Most of them are going back to Twitch.
Oh, they're going to go to YouTube, yeah.
Because Facebook sucks. Like, Jesus, sorry. I just broke into the middle of the news story with an editorial. I hadn't read that quote before I was reading it just then. That's a horrible quote. I usually expect better from Phil Spencer. Anyway, Microsoft is partnering with Facebook to transition existing Mixer viewers and streamers over to Facebook Gaming in the coming weeks. On July 22nd, all Mixer sites and apps will automatically redirect to Facebook Gaming. Existing Mixer partners will be granted partner status with Facebook Gaming, and any streamers using the Mixer monetization program will be granted eligibility for Facebook's Level Up program. Mixer viewers with outstanding Ember balances, channel subscriptions, or Mixer Pro subscriptions will receive Xbox gift card credit. And then there's just some stuff about, why Microsoft may have done this.
Yeah, those parts aren't really that important or even that interesting.
Ninja, they had to buy out Ninja and Shroud out of their contracts. So Ninja made $30 million, Shroud made $10 million, and now they're going to get signed by another streaming platform for more money. They've both apparently already said no to Facebook Gaming, who were going to double their money, and they're going to go somewhere else.
Mm-hmm. Shroud will go poised back to Twitch. Ninja, I think, is going to go to YouTube.
Yeah. Neither of them work with Facebook, which is
Yeah.
fair.
This was huge when this came out. Obviously, this was like, I would say, arguably with what else was it, with all the real world things that were happening around the world right now. This will probably be the main story this week for us, probably.
Easily.
I would say, yeah. This is absolutely bonkers. So first of all, I want to say, Phil L, respect to you. You tried. You guys gave it a try when it was going for tried to do your own streaming service and everything like that. You gave it a try. You saw the potential. It didn't work at all. But I'll say this. I'm going to take this from our friends from the My Xbox and Me podcast, Fixer and Crash. This is the first time I've ever, or they have ever, I as well. I'm like I said, I'm taking what they've said of that.
Man, spoilers, I haven't watched it yet.
His response is a nothing response. It's like he normally comes across as very genuine, very laid back, and everything. This is just a statement. This is just a blah 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 blah. And like when you read it, you started laughing. That's how bad this statement is.
It's a terrible statement.
Yeah.
Like, how can you say with a straight face that the Mixer community is going to benefit from Mixer shutting down? Like, how can you say that with a straight face? That's the most nonsense thing I've heard anyone say all day, because it's been a nonsense week. But you get my point. Like,
yeah. I feel for everybody apart from the ones who they bought contracts for to get them to sign legitimate design for them, because they've already made a book. And like I say, Ninja and Shroud, they're okay, ladies and gentlemen.
yeah,
but all
fine.
the ones who have who worked their asses off on Mixer to try and get a good community to work to get signed with them and everything. Now they've obviously all lost that, and after I would make a decision to go to Twitch or go to YouTube, or if they want to go to Facebook, or completely just give up on streaming altogether.
Well, this is part of the problem, right? Like, the Mixer community was smaller. Yes, admittedly, it was tiny, like compared to Twitch or YouTube. But it was also better. Like, it was less toxic than Twitch. That's fucking sure. Take it from someone who streams on Twitch. It's definitely less toxic than Facebook, which is a toxic company from top to bottom. But, like, I really feel for the people who have now got to rebuild their communities somewhere else. Yes. Somewhere, like, in terms of like, levels of toxicity, somewhere worse. Like, and from nothing for a lot of them. Like, I saw people talking about this for the days following, like, the announcement, and people were genuinely heartbroken, and I could feel that, because they built something, and it was taken away, and it was taken away without any real warning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing.
Well.
What's the
None
worst
of
thing
us
about
knew this was coming.
Yeah, that's the worst thing about it. That the people who had the Mixer's accounts and everything found out by a tweet.
I found out at the same time I found out, at the same time I shared it with you guys.
Yeah.
By just looking at Twitter. Like, it's mental.
Yeah. And that's how crazy it is. Like, Shroud and Ninja probably had the heads up this was happening just because of their contracts and everything like that, and how lucrative their names and recognitions are. But the rest of the community and people who work on Twitch were like, probably be like, what the hell? That's how you're going to tell us?
Works.
Seriously? And
you can go and log on Twitter and see people just being like, "What the fuck just happened?"
Yeah, it's a shame for all the people like that, but yeah, it sucks.
It's weird. It's to me, it's very strange as well. Like, I get Facebook gaming is obviously bigger than Mixer, but I feel like Mixer was poised to, like, it started out, it was a better streaming platform than Twitch. Right, and I'm going to be using Twitch as the touchstone because that's the one I stream to. Like, I don't know anything about YouTube and Facebook gaming and whatever other streaming services are out there. Like, it brought in so much stuff, like channel points, like low latency mode, and Twitch adopted those. And the reason Mixer didn't move forward from that is because then they didn't then, like, one up Twitch, who took all their stuff, which is obviously what was going to happen. And that's the reason it didn't really grow too much. But, like Microsoft, like, in a few months, Microsoft's going to be launching a brand new console that's probably going to come with a streaming service that could have been tied very closely into Mixer. Like, if they were willing to put the work in, they could have made it work. they've chosen the easy route, which is fair enough, and they've partnered with Facebook Gaming. The issue is, I know a ton of people aren't going to want to go there, and I'm not just talking about the streamers from Mixer who aren't going to Facebook Gaming. Like, people won't watch on Facebook Gaming. Like, a lot of people don't. Like, the way Facebook reports video views is misleading. That's been known for years. And I don't know. I don't think as many people are on Facebook Gaming as they think are on Facebook Gaming, but like, you have to use your real name to view and comment on a stream. You have to use your real name. That's gonna be a deal breaker for a lot of people. It'll be a deal breaker for me. I don't want to use my real name with my real Facebook profile to watch a fucking live stream. I get enough shit as it is, like as words about games. Like, I don't need people knowing who I am, even though I tell them at the start of every podcast.
I was gonna say,
but you get my point. Like,
yeah, but I know what you meant. There. I know. I did.
Like, yeah, you just go in as an anonymous username. It's like, yeah, cool. I can participate in this.
Like on Twitch, but I don't have my name on Twitch.
Yeah, you're Mr. Glorious One. I'm Words About Games. Before that, I was just Gerabalot. I was just mine. Before I started streaming, I was just the same handle I am on Twitter or whatever. Like, people don't want their private Facebook profiles tied to watching streams, because as we talked about at the top of this podcast, like, there's a lot of toxicity in the industry. If you say one wrong thing in someone's Facebook chat, you could get harassed by a bunch of different people. That's how it works. Until we fix it. Also, it's Facebook. Jesus. Yeah, they better not install this on my Xbox.
There'll be an app. Guarantee it'll be an app.
As long as I don't have to use it. If I have to use Facebook Gaming for xCloud, we're going to have a problem, Phil.
Yeah, that's the question, yeah.
We're going to have a big problem. Because I'm this close to deleting my Facebook account for starters, so I'm not even going to have one.
Well, mine's locked. Mine's not closed, but it's locked, deactivated. All I use is the messenger so I can keep up with like speaking to you and speaking to my partner and speaking to other friends, everything like that. Yeah, but that's all I'm at on it. I like say I'm not on Facebook at all, basically.
I haven't used it for so long. It just, I might as well at this point. But yeah, that's where I'm at. And then if it's like Xbox is going to tie all this shit into it, it's like I'm not going to get an Xbox account, a Facebook account, just to use something like xCloud. But
that's the thing about it. That's going to be an interesting thing.
Yeah,
that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, and it sucks for all the people who just had the rug pulled out from under them completely. But it's surprising that Microsoft would operate in this fashion, because they've been really good about stuff like this usually in the past couple of years, and that's what makes this so surprising, I think.
Yeah, like they took a gamble and it didn't work. The one thing that I don't like, what I saw online, was like, obviously before this all happened, there was a report about the abuse black person got from Mixer.
Yeah, that was the racism
like
stuff
that.
As well.
Yeah, the racism and everything like that. Well, he took some shit for no reason at all, just because right after the statement came out for what he came out and talked about, the next day, this whole thing dropped. And people started blaming him. I'm thinking, no, that is not how business works, ladies and gentlemen. This was already in the pipeline before this gentleman decided to be brave and release his story and call them out. And he's had to what I've heard, a very productive conversation with Phil Spencer. And like, this is where it comes back to the genuineness of Phil Spencer. Like, he literally came on, he was on Twitter and he said, no, this was already in the work before this man decided to talk about his terrible experience and everything. This was already in the works. Don't even dare go after him.
I brought it up here. Can I be honest with you? And I feel terrible about this. I actually forgot about this. Otherwise, it would have been in the. Otherwise, it would have been in here.
Well, I think even though I know what you're saying, but we've talked like we've already talked all about the situations about all jobs and everything in the industry. At the beginning, we didn't signal out certain people or jobs in places, so I can understand what you mean in there.
It's here. It's the stuff Milan blog post. He said, quote, I was one of the only black people working at Mixer during my tenure. While at a conference, I was pulled aside and told that the only reason I was hired is because I am street smart. The first thing that popped into my head at the time was affirmative action. I believed I was only hired to meet a diversity goal because I was black. I decided to brush it off and let it go. Lee's post also details the time when one of his managers described partnered Mixer streamers as slaves and herself as their slave master. Lee explains getting visibly upset to the point that the manager who made the analogies asked to have a one-on-one meeting with him. Quote, within that meeting, I told her why I was angry and why her using that analogy was not okay. She decided to defend her statement and even had the nerve to Google that analogy to prove why it was okay. After Google showed her it was never okay to use that analogy, she told me I need to work on myself. If I wanted to go far in this industry, I need to work on my emotions and feelings to similar concerns. After this meeting, I knew I was leaving, end quote. Yay. Yeah, I remember it all now.
Yeah.
Quote, the reason my manager was not penalised and the reason she still has her job today is because she cannot be racist. The reason she cannot be racist is because she hired a black person. That's a quote that Lee said.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, Phil Spencer would have talked to Milan Lee because if they're shuttering Mixer, they're probably moving their employees in somewhere else in Microsoft or even Xbox. And Phil Spencer probably doesn't want anyone like this working there.
Yeah, they probably aren't there anymore.
Yeah. Which is probably why. But yeah, like, I think I spent like 2 seconds thinking, whoa, did this racist post thing just close Mixer down? And then thinking, no, of course not. That's not what happened.
Mm-hmm. Like the age-old saying from Harrison Ford says, "That's not how the Force works."
That's not how the Force works. Yeah. Moody, I'm going to read the headline for the next game. I don't think I need to read for the next story. I don't know if I need to read the next story. EA is going to double down on Star Wars games from now on.
Were they not doing that already?
I mean, you've seen no.
Really?
Yeah.
Damn.
How many Star Wars games have we had in the last? What's it been? 7 years since they got the exclusive license?
Battlefront 2, 1 and 2, Fallen Order.
Yep.
And the Galaxy of Heroes. That's a mobile game.
That's a mobile game. Old Republic was
so
already.
I don't count that bugger. Old Republic was already made. So yeah.
In 7 years, we have 4 games.
4 years.
Yeah, we had this discussion.
The thing is, but the thing is about it, like, but the thing is, we've all been saying to them, you should have took your time. You should have. Each Battlefront game needed another year, a minimum. Especially how when Battlefront 2 now has been re-reviewed as getting love all over the place. That's a year, basically after when it. No, it was like 2 years, wasn't it? Yeah, it's been like 2 years because it came out for Last Jedi.
Battlefront 2 came out in 2017.
Yeah, Last Jedi. So
yeah.
So it was getting re-reviewed in 2019. 2 years later, so they both those games need at least a year or 2 years minimum to get those games truly ready. So doubling down, okay, yeah, great, fantastic, but don't rush the games. Still, like Fallen Order for me, like I say, you loved it more than I did. I think it's a good game. I don't think it's a great game. But the creators of them have even said they needed at least another 6 months. At least a minimum of another 6 months, but they needed to get it out in time for Rise of Skywalker. That's the only time. Like everyone's like going, "Hey, good," from the man who runs Respawn. He has EA by the balls. He doesn't, ladies and gentlemen, at all. Because if he did, Jedi Fallen Order would have come out this year, not last year.
If Vince Zampella had EA by the balls, Titanfall 3 would be coming out this fall.
Exactly. Or would be announced at least.
Yeah. You fucking lunatics. If anyone's saying that about Vince, I've never seen that take before, but I'm if it's out there, Jesus.
No, I just see people say like he seems like he's untouchable and everything like that. He's not, ladies and gentlemen. He's not. EA own him. He's there. They're his bosses.
They're the prize jewel of EA right now, understandably. So they've made a lot of good hits, but yeah, like no, they still have to. Yeah, They still have to work in the
If
EA structure.
Fallen Order fell short, things would be completely different, ladies and gentlemen.
Like,
No
if it wasn't...
offense.
Because even when I reviewed the game last year, it was still a case of it's excellent, despite its technical issues. That's what I said.
Yeah.
If those technical issues had been a little bit worse, I might have had something very different to say.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing about it. That's the thing I'm hoping when it comes to Jedi Fallen Order 2, that now they have no real deadline when it comes to films, because we don't know when the next one really is coming out. Hopefully they'll give them the time to say, yo, you don't have to be out in time for a film, just be ready.
The issue is...
Just get the game plan.
Yes, I see where you're coming from. They didn't have... It doesn't have to be out in time for a film. Now there's another deadline, because the licensing arrangement is up in a few years. So now there are deadlines, which... it's like 2023, 2024. Now they got a whole different deadline, which is why they're doubling down now. I mean, if they doubled down at the beginning, when they got the license, we might have might be in a whole different situation. But I feel like what we're going to get over the next few years is probably another Battlefront game and another Fallen Order game. And then I think we're probably going to see a few games on the scale of Squadrons, which isn't meant to be the big, huge Jedi Fallen Order Battlefront experience, but something smaller that targets one specific thing. In the case of Squadrons, cockpit fighters, and can be released quite quickly, relatively quickly, compared to a giant RPG or a giant first-person shooter. Because now they've got to prove, like, if they want to keep the license, which them just saying they're doubling down on it, I assume they do want to keep the license. They got to prove that they can make it work, and they can make money, and a lot of money. And the problem is, up until Fallen Order came out, all they made with Star Wars games was controversies.
But still made a lot of money.
They made a lot of money, but the thing is, they also kind of dragged the Star Wars name through the muck.
Mm-hmm. That's true, yeah.
Which we know Disney did not appreciate with Battlefront 2. Like, to the point where the United States Congressman was speaking out about it and specifically referencing Star Wars. Not Star Wars Battlefront 2, just Star Wars.
Mm-hmm. In general, yeah.
So, yeah, it's like, I can see why they're doing this. And I don't know.
So what, you think a Star Wars game every year now until the license runs out?
Probably, yeah. I think we'll get this game. I think we'll get a Fallen Order game before the license runs out. We'll get Battlefront 3 before the license runs out. I can see it. Another couple of games. Smaller ones. Maybe some sort of narrative-driven, Telltale-esque Star Wars game. I'm just trying to think of games that can be small. Maybe a strategy game, potentially. Like, just some smaller stuff that can just bring goodwill and money to Star Wars.
Yeah.
EA now can't cancel any more Star Wars games. And that's the other situation that they're in. Because that's part of the problem. They've cancelled so many games that now they haven't released very many because they've all been cancelled. I think there's 3 podcasts that have come out over the space of the last few years, all with the headline, EA have cancelled the Star Wars game.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And that's not even taking into account Star Wars 1313, which EA cancelled when they got the license. Which they shouldn't have done, because that game looked amazing.
EA didn't close that.
I can't remember who closed it. I know
Disney cancelled that.
Was there a transition period? Disney cancelled it. EA should have just brought it back. Hey, former Lucas film arts people, you know that dope as fuck Star Wars game you were making? that was nearly complete.
How much of they had left? They might have just said, we'll just delete it all.
You could probably finish in the next year or 2 and get us off to a really strong start with the Star Wars license. You should make that. Here's money. It's EA. Call us back.
Yeah, call us back, yeah. We'll see.
I don't know. I think they just handle this license epically, but...
Hopefully, that you want to get Like, this is the thing. They can have a licensing deal. I don't mind them having a license deal. Just allow other people to have licensing deals as well. Like I said, do the same thing what you're doing with the Marvel thing, Disney. That's
Yeah.
all you have to do. You'll be fine. So EA can keep on doing their games. That's fine. You can give us the Jedi Fallen Order 2 or 3, Battlefront 3, etc., etc. But allow other companies to do like that. Let Sony and Microsoft to go and say, yo, we'll give you this much money if you allow us to create a Star Wars game that is exclusive for our platform. Do it!
Give it to me, Miyazaki, just make a Star Wars Souls game. Why did I do that to myself? Because that's never going to happen. Why did I allow myself to think and then say that out loud? No, that's just one more disappointment in my life.
Cool.
Let's move on because we got a few announcements this week.
Yeah,
There were a couple of shows. There was like a Japanese show. So here we go. Crash Bandicoot 4, It's About Time, is launching on October 2nd on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Marvel's Avengers will now also be coming to PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X with free upgrades on both systems if you own the game on the previous generation console. Rogue Legacy 2 is launching in early access on Steam on July 23rd. Trails of Cold Steel 4 is coming to PS4 on October 27th and PC and Nintendo Switch in 2021. East 9 Monstrum Nox was announced and is coming to PC, PS4 and Nintendo Switch in 2021. Harvest Moon 1 World is coming to PS4 and Nintendo Switch in fall 2020. Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2 was announced for PC, PS4, Xbox One and Nintendo Switch. Fight Crab is launching on PC on July 30th. Project Cars 3 is coming to PC, PS4 and Xbox One on August 28th. Sniper Ghost Warrior Contracts 2 is launching this autumn. QuakeCon Online has been announced and will be running from August 7th to August 9th. Cyberpunk Edge Runners is an anime series that was announced and is coming to Netflix in 2022. A Disco Elysium TV show was announced. And, I didn't add it to this, but I should have, The Witcher on Netflix is going back into production on August 17th. Finally. Get ready to toss all the coins. Something interesting that just jumped out at me. And well, there's stuff we want to talk about, I'm sure. So, Project Cars 3 being developed by Slightly Mad Studios is coming out on August 28th. Fast and Furious Crossroads, also being developed by Slightly Mad Studios, is coming out on August 7th. Interesting.
I think they just want to get that Fast and Furious game.
That's interesting. Yeah, cool.
It was meant to drop with the gift of the film. Obviously, the film's been dropped, delayed a year. They don't want to delay this game a year because they want to get off that bloody thing as quick as possible.
Yeah, let's just get rid of this game.
Yeah.
Movie delays are weird to me because everybody keeps delaying movies by like 2 weeks. And then it's like, but nobody's going to go to the cinema. They showed that video of that dude spraying all the seats down in the cinema. That went a bit viral on Twitter. And I was like, I saw that and I was like, I'm not going to the cinema again, ever. Like, fuck that. Jesus. But anyway, that's beside the point. Some cool stuff in here. Crash Bandicoot 4 is obviously the big one for this week. I've never really been a 3D platformer person, if I'm being honest.
I've never been a Crash guy, so it's never bothered me. I'm happy for the people who love this character and excited for the game and everything. Like I say, the remasters that came out a couple of years ago blew up like crazy. Like I remember complete great reaction by Tim Geddes from Kind of Funny, where he was just like, "Oh, man, it's actually happening!"
Is that the one where he broke Andy's laptop?
I don't know. He broke something. I don't know if it was a speech. I don't know, but he broke something. But yeah, yeah. Like the one I think the one stands out for me is Rogue Legacy 2. That game, hard as hell. Never completed it, just like Dead Cells, but was an amazing game. The first one, so I'm happy for that to see that that sequel's on its way. But everything else doesn't really stand out for me. That like we didn't really mention it because obviously we're talking more about the game and everything with the Cyberpunk Edge Runners anime series. I was just like, more. And Disco Elysium, I haven't played the game, so I can't really comment on the excitement of that. So I don't really have any excitement for that.
I'm
You might
excited
because you
for
played
it.
it, you love the
I
game,
love
you
the
really
game.
have
The writing is superb,
Mhm.
and I'm looking forward to it. I'll love a TV show based on the weird, crazy writing in that game for sure. Bloodstained Curse of the Moon 2 is pretty cool. Fight Crab is weird enough to have gotten my attention. You're a crab. You fight
And you
things.
fight. Oh, yeah.
That's it. And I saw the trailer for it during the New Game Plus Expo, and I was like, damn, that looks weird. I'm in. Rogue Legacy 2 is cool. I loved Rogue Legacy. Everything's been out in early access these days, though. And it's just like, I don't
Yeah,
really
that's
play
the
in
thing
early
that was
access.
surprising to me. That's the thing that was like surprising me when it comes to roguelikes. I was saying, "Oh, early access, okay,
I've got my Torchlight 3 code as well.
yay."
There's an update on June 30th, so I'm going to wait for that before I start playing it. And I've still got like 10 demo preview videos to get out before I even like think about previewing anything else. Let's move on to the content drop. So again, as we mentioned at the start of this, in the first news story, there's the Magna Jane thread and the Medium Survivor stories post on Medium. Both of those are obviously related to the first story about the stories of sexual misconduct throughout the game industry. Highly recommend giving both of them a read. So there are a lot of names in it. Some of them we might recognize as being not very good people, to put it
Not very good at
diplomatically.
all.
Also in the content drop, we've got a story from PC Gamer, written by Stephen Messner, which is thousands of EVE Online players go to war in celebration of this terminally ill player's birthday. So if you want to cry, go read that. It's beautiful. I've never played EVE Online for more than maybe 10 hours. Once when I was in university, but I love like the stories that come out about it. Like all the different like weird stories. Like this community is really interesting. But this is just an awesome story about a group of players that celebrated someone who got diagnosed with terminal cancer. There's a story up on GameSpot by Eddie McCooch, which is Lego developers spent $1 million on a Hobbit game pitch, and see the early demos here. This TT Games, the Lego people, created a game for a non-Lego Hobbit game, complete with like early demos, like to like showcase it, and it was apparently passed over. And the demos are
They
actually
went,
pretty
if you
interesting.
put Lego on it, you'll be fine.
Turn this into Lego, we'll take it. There's like some people at TT Games who were just like, fucking Lego.
I am going to be curious. Like, so obviously we talked about last week about the Warner Brothers active looking to sell the games and just games developers they own and everything like that. Like, it's going to be very interesting, like, to see what would TT Games do and everything like that if they get if and all that they do get sold off. Like, for me, I'm just thinking, will they be thinking, time for us to maybe spread our wings, try and do something else and everything? Because all we're known for is Lego. We've got a bit of a good reputation right now. I think we have a chance to maybe go for a little bit of a splash to try and do something different.
To be fair, it seems like the will's there to make a non-Lego game. So
yeah, by this, it does sound like it. I'll have to get in contact with the person I speak at TT.
The last item on the content drop is something we talked about last week. Why The Last of Us 2's rope is so damn impressive, which was written by Patricia Hernandez over at Polygon, and it talked about the technology behind The Last of Us Part 2. And it also includes Polygon asking developers to weigh in on it about why it is so damn impressive. And it is damn impressive. I was impressed. Games out this week.
Let's do this.
It's just justified the plural in that sentence. Just. On July 1st, Trackmania comes to PC. Play in an online multiplayer environment or solo against ghosts of players. Improve steadily thanks to innovative gameplay features, regionalized rankings, and medals to collect so you can race your way to the top. And then on July 3rd, Marvel's Iron Man VR comes to PS4. Don the PlayStation VR headset to suit up as the armored Avenger in an original Iron Man adventure. Tony Stark has retired from making weapons and instead creates technology used to battle evil as Iron Man. That technology is also a weapon.
Yeah.
After several years as a world-famous superhero, Tony is attacked by the mysterious Ghost, a hacker and anti-corporate activist who repurposes old Stark Industry weapons. In her efforts to topple his empire, Ghost attacks Stark's corporate locations around the world, leading to ever-escalating strikes and a final showdown. That's it. Those are your games out this week. You think The Last of Us Part 2 was out or something?
Yeah. Don't come out the week after. Yeah. The Last of Us.
Cool. I don't really have anything. Trackmania Turbo, I played that on Xbox. It's pretty cool. There's a free version of Trackmania, so I'll probably give that a try. Maybe. We'll see. Cool. I've got games to catch up on from last week. Because I played fuck all apart from The Last of Us.
Me too. I'm pretty much almost halfway through my second playthrough now.
Nice. Like I say, I needed to cleanse my palate, so played other things.
Oh yeah, like I had to as well. Like I was saying to myself, like, "Oh, start this again," and I was just like, "I don't know if I can right now. I think I need some cheery. What game have I got as cheery? Oh, I'll play a little Apex maybe, or I'll play a little Left 4 Dead, or watch something on the Disney Channel."
I've got to admit, I've also been watching New Girl on Amazon, which is hilarious. Just something light-hearted, like.
Yeah. Now, that's not a detrimental to the game. Like, say, if you go off from the spoiler cast that we've had, listen, little slight spoilers. I love it. It's my game of the year. It's my game of 2019 as well.
Yeah, my spoiler-free opinion of Last of Us Part 2 is this is a really excellent game. But it's very complicated and it makes me feel all sorts of different things I never expected to feel while playing a video game.
Yeah.
Let's do OpenCritic head-to-head and then we'll get to the post-show because I know you've got some stuff you want to get off your chest in the post-show. So
okay, just some interesting things I think will be good talks.
So, OpenCritic head-to-head. This is the game every week. Myself and Mr. Moody, at the end of every podcast, we attempt to guess the OpenCritic average of one upcoming game. Whoever gets closest to guessing the score correctly gets 1 point. If you manage to guess the score completely correctly, you get 2 points. We instituted a policy after The Last of Us Part 2 where if it's an even split between us, it is a draw. That information will become very important in about 20 seconds' time. Last week, we attempted to guess the OpenCritic average of SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. I guessed it would get a 69 because I'm immature and awesome. Moody guessed it would get a 71 because he did research. And at the time of recording, the OpenCritic average for SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated is a 70, which means for the second week out of the last 3 weeks, that was a draw, which leaves the scores at Amy 11, Moody 8, with 2 draws.
Damn you, GameSpot. If it was a 3, probably, I probably would have got my 71.
Yeah.
Damn you, GameSpot. God damn you.
I guess closest so far this year on Dreams, Warcraft 3, One Punch Man, Half-Life Alyx, Resident Evil 3, Gears Tactics, Legends of Runeterra, Deep Rock Galactic, Man-Eater, Xenoblade Chronicles, Definitive Collection, and West of Dead. Moody has guessed closest so far in 2020 on Zombie RB4, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Doom Eternal, Final Fantasy VII Remake, XCOM Chimera Squad, Command & Conquer Remastered, and guessed the score exactly correctly for Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. Moody, do you remember when Warcraft 3 Reforged came out in this year? That was a thing. It happened. It came out in 2020.
Completely forgotten about now.
What the fuck? How long has 2020 lasted?
Well, we're already in there. We're almost at the 7th month, so...
I don't... Now, just to say, you're going to have to put your trust in me. I don't have any post-it notes left. I've got nothing to write on. Normally I would hold the thing up. That I've already written down, but I've got nothing. I'll tell you what, actually, I'll write it on this cold can.
I brought mine down, so...
So, Moody? Guess the OpenCritic... This week we're guessing the OpenCritic average of Iron Man VR. What do you got? Hang on, let me just work something out. Okay. 1 second. Normally I wouldn't do this, but I'm doing this week. I'm avoiding the Last of Us Part 2 principle. I'm putting my score up by 1 so that it is impossible for us to get a draw. Because what I had originally written on my code cam was 85, but now I've written 86. That works, right? There's no way we can meet in the middle. Because there's no decimal places. There's no 0.5s.
No. We can't meet in the middle. Like I say, if you were at 85 and it landed 80, then that's in the middle.
Now it's impossible.
If you went 86,
so I'm going away 86.
You could have gotten 86 or 84, basically. And you would have not met in the middle.
Gone up. 86. It's a VR game. It's an Iron Man game. All the reviews are going to be talking about how it makes you feel like you're Iron Man.
That's why I think it's going to be the detriment to it. And that is it. You feel like Iron Man! And that is it.
You'll never really feel like Iron Man until you indulge in far too much whiskey.
That is true. That is true.
Just saying. But, so let me just write those down. I went 86. You've gone 75. Big spread.
Mm-hmm.
Bring it on. Let me just pull further and further away. So you gotta remember, Moody. You remember my drought. You remember what the conclusion we came to. I need to get ahead before all these AAA games start coming out. Because you are really good at doing the AAA stuff, and I'm really good at doing the smaller stuff. And your time will come. August, September, October, November, December, when we got AAA game on top of AAA game. I gotta build that buffer.
I hope so. I was saying to myself when I was saying 78, 95 for the Last of Us going 96. Because I was saying to myself, you're going to go even higher in 96 to myself. I was saying, you're going higher than 96. So go 96, then you've got it covered. Unless it's spot on, for her. Because I didn't think it was going to land on 98. I was like, there's a chance for 97, but yeah.
I went for 97.
Mm-hmm.
It was 97, and then it went down.
Yeah.
As is the video game.
It also went and landed on 95 at one point, and I was thinking, yeah! And then you bloody said something.
The video game review score averaging is a fickle bitch. Mooney, we've got a little bit of time for a post show.
Yes.
What would you like to talk about? You've come prepared this week.
Yeah, I've wrote down a couple of things. I know a lot of people. If you are watching us and everything like that, and you see me not looking like I'm not listening to it, I am actually listening. It's just I am writing it because if I thought of something, I have to write it down instantly because I'll forget about it straight away. So I've just wrote it down.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at, by the way. Just so everyone knows, I have this. It's here. So when I'm looking away from the screen and down, I'm looking at this. This is the real star of the words about Gamescast. This is what keeps everything running.
So one of the things was just a shout out to The Last of Us Part 2 for its sales. 4 million sales, 4 million units sold in 3 days. The fastest selling PlayStation exclusive of all time, which is incredible. Just to think of, just because of the backlash and everything that was getting people with the leaks and everything, and it's just insane to think that was able to do that. The question is now, will it beat the biggest exclusive of all time on PlayStation, which is Uncharted 4? I think 16 million units sold.
Yes,
I think so. Yeah, I think it's going to hit about 17 to 18 million.
I mean, I never had any. I never thought that the leaks and the whinging and whatnot about what was in the leaks was gonna affect the game sales in any way, because for the most part, most people won't even know that the game was leaked.
That's the thing about it. That's what I said when we heard this announced come out. I was thinking, just again, always social media means nothing when it comes to just regular people who just don't use social media.
But when I finished it, I don't know whether I mentioned that. I don't think I mentioned this in our spoiler discussion. Obviously, when I'd finished the game, I didn't go and watch any spoiler discussions because I wanted us to have ours first. But what I did do is I did go and watch a couple of those videos that were complaining about the leaks because I was curious. Because I remember it was a big shitstorm, but obviously I wasn't participating because I was like, no spoilers. Wow, wow, wow. Some
Idiots.
people, toddlers with microphones, but also like the leaks were wrong. Like they got some stuff right, and we're not going to talk about any of the leaks or any spoilers for the game. But there was a couple of things in the leaks that people I saw were complaining about that was spot on. And then there was other stuff that people were complaining about was going to happen in The Last of Us Part 2. Never happened. It never happened. So as far as I can tell, people kind of just grabbed the wrong end of the stick with both hands. And started complaining based on things. But the funny thing is, like, they were like the people I was watching were talking about, like, oh, and they're saying like, oh, play the game to get the context, because that'll make the difference. And then they were like, well, fuck context, I've got the information here. And then it turns out that they took the information and because it was context free, made some assumptions that were incorrect. So context, idiots. Congratulations to Naughty Dog for the 4 million sales in 3 days.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. I'm so happy for them. Like I say, my aim is to hopefully, I think it's going to depend on the Xbox thing, which whenever the event is in July, to see what the price is for Series X, which I do think we'll see in July. Which one I will be buying when at the end of the year. Right now it's PlayStation 5, like I've already said. Right now, until Xbox tell me what's what. If it is the PlayStation 5, I can't wait to replace Last of Us Part 2 again on that, because it'll probably have an enhanced redone for it, something like that. If you and all that, and I'll be like going, yes, give me that now. But yeah, I'm so happy for The Last of Us and everything.
Which looked fantastic.
One of the things that we talked about when it was Kim coming to, I think it was Cyberpunk we were talking about. Yeah, the Sean Layden interview he had length. About AAA games lengths is not sustainable and everything.
Can I put a memorandum? I think that's the word on this discussion, because what I'd rather do is, rather than cram a short discussion about this topic into a short discussion, what if we did a video? Because I got a lot of thoughts on game lengths, and I've had this debate with Keith on a podcast last year. Probably. I don't remember what it was in relation to, but like I think we could have a really interesting, like, sort of half-hour discussion video out of it, and I think that might be better than cramming it into the push.
Important now later. There we go, Moody.
We'll meet up. We'll do a video. I'll put it out. It'll be the patch notes video for next Thursday.
Fine.
It means I don't have to write my Resident Evil 3 review for another week. That's fine by me. Those videos take a lot of work.
That's true. Another thing was like, with obviously what's happening with the craziness and braveness and whatnot. Finally, Twitch seems like it's done the right thing. Dr. Disrespect banned, and it looks like it's permanent.
Permanently banned.
But the thing is, I'm like, first of all, I was looking at it, and I've tried to find something. I'm thinking, so why have they banned him this time? And it just seems like because of what happened last year. So
no, it won't be because of what happened last year.
Yeah.
Well,
so he's done something else.
I've just looked it up. He's tweeted.
Oh, he's tweeted it last.
Twitch has not notified me on the specific reason behind the decision. Firm handshakes to all for their support during this difficult time. Firm handshakes, I think, is the thing he does. Because at the moment, he has been suspended. All Twitch have said is, as is our process, we take appropriate action when we have evidence that a streamer has acted in violation of our community guidelines or terms of service. These apply to all streamers regardless of status or prominence in the community. The thing about it being permanent is, from an esports reporter called Rob Breslau, he was talking to sources. He says it's not a DMCA takedown.
Okay.
Because that's been an issue for some streamers in the past few weeks.
So then it goes back to Twitch first, how stupid and lazy and absolutely useless they are. No offense to them, is that if it is for something what he did at E3 last year, saying you had all the evidence, If it's something new, that's fine,
Yeah.
and we'll find out when that drops because it'll eventually come out
It'll be something new.
and
It won't
everything. But
be it won't be related to the
yeah,
incident at E3 last year
yeah.
because
So
you already got suspended for that for whatever it was, 2 weeks I
yeah,
think.
yeah. Which a lot of people were angry at that. Like I
I
said, a lot
mean
of people say
2 weeks for filming in a freaking public toilet.
Mm-hmm.
He broke the law, really. Like,
Mm-hmm.
and that could have
Yeah,
very easily been a kid peeing in a urinal in E3.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. The thing for me was always that when he came out and says, "I didn't know I was breaking the law," singing, "Why would you go into the bathroom with a camera? Why would you do that
I didn't
in a
know it was
public
breaking
event?"
the law.
That does made it. And I don't watch the guy anyway. I've
No,
always thought
no.
he comes across as a bit of an idiot personally.
No, his
But,
character. The thing about people who do characters on like content, like Twitch streams and YouTube channels, is like, oh no, it's not him. It's just the character. It's like, no, you're just using it as an excuse to be a dick.
yeah,
And it doesn't
I
matter
don't
whether
believe
it's a
that
character
whatsoever.
or not. You're still being a dick.
Yeah,
Like he's still racist. He's still done right. It's done and said racist stuff in
mm-hmm.
character. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. He still said it. He still
Yeah.
did it. Like, what's the difference?
So yeah, it's that like you're the one who brought this out to my attention. Obviously,
Yeah,
when you put
I
the
did.
chat and everything, and like even I was
It's
still like,
shocked.
I don't believe that. I was like, I don't believe this, really.
Yeah.
And you're saying, yeah, it seems like it. Um,
Well, this channel was gone. Like, so it was a case of like, well, it's gone. So
yeah, so tick for that one.
I like this. You've got like a checklist. We got one more.
Yeah, well,
We got one more in. Yes.
okay. So I'll leave these two for you then. Well, these three for you. Do you to decide? To either talk about Pokemon Unite, Smart Delivery, or when do you think the Xbox event's going to be in July?
Mm.
Whatever you decide. I'll let you have one of those.
Well, I think the
Which one?
Xbox event in July is going to be. It's going to be. It's July this week, right?
July
The
next
Xbox
week. Yeah,
event is going to be not this week, but next.
the week after, the second week of July. Okay, the first full week of July.
First full week of July.
Yeah. Okay. So. So do you want to talk about Smart Delivery, or what are my thoughts on that, or do you want to talk about
Smart Delivery because I don't really have anything positive to say about Pokemon Unite, and if you don't have anything positive to say, don't say anything at all.
Exactly, yeah, good show. No, it's just my thoughts. It's just like I'm seeing a lot of people, and I think it's even for one of our friends ourselves on my Xbox and me, that they seem like that like Microsoft had just put they just put an advertisement on it. Smart Delivery, this is what this does, and everything like that. And PlayStation is just like, it's up to the developers. Then the developers are just letting them do it. The PlayStation allow them to do it. What I'm noticing now, if people say otherwise, that's perfectly fine. And I think, like, obviously, Cyberpunk's going to be free if you do the whole thing. Same with Avengers, Destiny, and all like that, and everything. The only thing, obviously, PlayStation is staying quiet on is their exclusives, which I do believe they'll get you to rebuy again. That's their decision and whatnot. But when it comes to like games that they don't technically own, I think they're just going to allow the developer to do the smart delivery. They're just not putting a fancy name on it.
Yeah, but someone will blink eventually. Like someone third party will blink eventually and say, no, you have to rebuy the game because we're going to remaster it instead of allowing, like with Avengers and Destiny.
But that's not PlayStation's or Microsoft's fault then, though.
No, on PlayStation's fault. Yeah, because Smart Delivery on Xbox is still opt-in. And it's not their fault, but Activision will... Sorry, did I say Activision? I mean, some third-party developer will eventually force you to rebuy a game on next generation console. I can't believe I said Activision there.
Who goes first? EA or Activision?
Activision.
You already think, yeah?
EA's already doing Smart Delivery stuff. With Madden, so it'll be Activision. It's always Activision. But yeah, like with your examples,
Call of Duty, but next year you'll have to do it.
Yeah,
vice versa.
With two of your examples in Destiny and Avengers, like because those are long-running live service games, they need something on both platforms to bring players across.
Oh,
like,
definitely.
Imagine if you had to rebuy all the expansions for Destiny 2 because you're moving on to PlayStation 5. That'd be terrible. Like,
Oh yeah,
imagine,
definitely.
and on Avengers point, it's like imagine like releasing a live service game in September, and then in November, people who are buying new consoles will have to rebuy the game. Like, so like for those like, but they need both consoles to be able to move them forward because you gotta remember, Moody. The reason this wasn't an issue from Xbox 360 to Xbox One and PS3 to PS4 is because live service games didn't exist. Like that's why this has become a thing now as opposed to 7 years ago. Like games like Destiny and well, Destiny did exist, but it was like now there's so many of them, you know.
That's true.
But yeah, like I think Xbox needed to put a name on it and a branding on it because one, it's smart marketing, and two, because of the way they're treating console generations versus the way PlayStation is treating console generations, meant they needed something to say look, you can buy Halo Infinite on your Xbox One. You can play Halo Infinite on your Xbox One. But if you get an Xbox Series X, you can use smart delivery to get the game that you've already bought on your new console, and also it will have enhancements. It's a really easy way to say that, whereas PlayStation aren't worried about that because I doubt that's going to be the case for The Last of Us Part 2, Ghost of Tsushima, any other PS4 game. I doubt you're going to have the ability to just play those games on PS5. So they don't need that shorthand. And then other studios like Bungie, who are bringing Destiny 2 forward, can just spell it out for their fans.
Yeah, that's true.
Which is stupid. I think PlayStation should have something smart delivery esque.
All depends on the sequel. It's all going to be dependent on what. Like I say, it does look like they're both going different sides here. Like they've even PlayStation basically even said it in their conference where they said we're here for the next gen.
Yeah,
we're here to do the new.
We love generational divides. I don't.
Yeah,
personally doesn't.
Let's see who dies on their sword, basically, and see who. That's what's going to be. If PlayStation 5 is, even though it's going to be successful, I'm sure, if it's nowhere near as successful as what they truly want, which will probably be at least a minimum of at least PlayStation 3 sales, if not way high, close to PlayStation 4 minimum and everything, then they'll probably be thinking this is a bit of a dud, and then they'll probably be thinking we should maybe adopt a couple of things that the Microsoft are doing and everything. But no. We won't know what this is going to be like. Say it's what is it? It's not a sprint. It's a marathon.
Yes.
So we won't realize what's what for at least a good couple of years yet. So
yeah.
Usually, we won't be able to give a true analogy to decide who is doing the right thing. And even if PlayStation are leading, we'll probably be still thinking overall Microsoft is still the more friendlier platform because of how they're doing thousands games and all
Nobody's
like this.
Fucked up. To take a running analogy, the last two generational launches, we've known pretty much when the consoles came out which console was going to take the lead because the other console wrestled the starting gun off of the running referee and shot themselves in both legs with it before the run started. Whereas no one's made a colossal fuck up this time. Yet there's still time.
Yeah,
but
obviously
last time it was Xbox's launch. The time before that it was PlayStation 3's price. And we've still got time for someone to fuck up. But it hasn't happened yet. So fair enough. That's going to do it for episode 212 of the Words About Gamescast. Yeah, it says 2 hours. And I know we recorded for a couple of minutes before I actually started the podcast, so we're about 2 hours in. This podcast has just become a 2-hour podcast, really. Like, just in general. Which I'm fine with. It's nice it's fun doing this in the summer and watching it start out daylight in your room and then just slowly get darker and darker as time goes on.
But I'm going to have to just basically shut the curtains and just turn the lights on eventually behind me.
Yeah, the light, this room doesn't handle light very well, so I just do that anyway. So whether it's 10 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock in the morning, this box is always going to look the same.
Yeah, just letting the lamp in this screen shine on my face.
Screen.
You don't know what you're seeing.
Sweat.
Actually, I'm pretty cool. I'm pretty cool right now. So
play us out.
Play us out, play us out. Well, ladies and gentlemen, like as we already know, it's been a difficult week, but as always, just please be nice to each other. We've had some really interesting stories. Like I say, let us know what your thoughts on Avengers and Cyberpunk and everything. Are you excited for those games? Like I say, both me and Amy are very mixed on Cyberpunk overall right now, even though we are going to play them. Avengers, like, we both were very mixed on that, but let us know what your thoughts on that and everything. What are your thoughts on Mixer? Like, crazy ass news what happened there and everything. Let us know and everything. And also if you know anyone on Mixer, send them some love. Because I'm sure right now they need at least a minimum of a hug. Even if it's just a heart saying, like, thinking of you and everything like that on Twitter or on whatever social platform you are on. As always, please be nice. That's all.
Bye.
Bye.